You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin.
Good morning, everyone. This is Rose Jeffrey, Corporate Secretary of the Harlem Community Development Corporation. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting and ask that you please mute your phone and keep it muted unless you're speaking. For the record, before we begin, I'll be taking a roll call of the directors to ensure we have a quorum present. If you're on the line, please say present when you hear your name. Marie Arce?
On the line.
Okay. Ava Rice? Ava Rice? Lamond May?
Present.
Holly Drakeford?
Present.
Shauna Marks?
Present.
Yolanda Ford?
Present.
Eric Cirillo?
Present.
Gabrielle Lewenstein?
Good morning, everyone. Present.
Dana Reed?
Present.
Erica Gonzalez?
Present.
Terrell Brock? Present. Keisha Sutton? James?
Present.
Deneen Brown?
Present.
And Ava Rice?
Present.
Thank you, Ava. Okay. We have a quorum. Thank you, everyone. I'll now turn the meeting over to Keisha Sutton James, who will be chairing for us today. Thank you, Keisha. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Before I begin, Rose, is there any other staff present?
The staff that's present is Destiny Burns, Victoria Gordon, and Eunice Jackson.
Thank you, Rose.
Alejandra Villanueva is also on.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Keisha Sutton James, and I'm honored to serve as chair for today's meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the Harlem Community Development Corporation for Friday, October 29th, 2021. Before I get started, I will ask that everyone please mute their phones until you are ready to speak. Also, for the record, I ask that anyone wishing to speak, please be sure to state your name before you begin. I'm going to say it again. Can everyone please mute your phones until you are ready to speak? Because I'm hearing some feedback. Thank you. I'd like to note for the record that in accordance with the recently passed legislation, this meeting will be conducted by teleconference. I will also note for the record that the public has been given the opportunity to comment on today's agenda item by submitting their written comments by 5:30 p.m. yesterday to HCDC board at esd.ny.gov. I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public. The directors have received the written materials in advance of today's meeting, and they are free to ask questions at any time during the presentation. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to the agenda items. If so, I would ask that you please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We'll be sure that you recuse yourself from any discussion or vote regarding the item. Is there anyone that has any conflicts? Okay, the foregoing has been noted for the record. I do not hear any conflicts. For our first order of business is the approval of the amended weatherization division budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. Destiny Burns will be presenting. Destiny?
Good morning, everyone. This morning, the directors are requested to approve an amended budget for Harlem CDC's Weatherization Assistance Program for the 2021 through 2022 fiscal year. The weatherization program reduces energy costs for low-income households by facilitating improvements and upgrades that increase energy efficiency. The program is funded by allocations from the U.S. Departments of Energy and Health and Human Services and is administered through the New York State Department of Homes and Community Renewal. At our meeting on April 30th, 2021, the directors approved an amended weatherization budget of $1,394,074. The allocation has since been increased by $138,398 for a total amended budget of $1,532,472. The additional funding will be applied to the outside services and expenses line item. I recommend the directors authorize this amendment to enhance our weatherization program's ability to promote the health and safety of low-income Harlem residents. That concludes my presentation, and I'll take any questions if anyone has.
Okay, not hearing any questions or discussion. I'll ask, are there any comments from the public? Okay, not hearing any comments from the public, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Holly Drakeford, I make a motion to approve the Harlem CDC's proposed amended weatherization division budget in the amount of $1,532,472.
Thank you, Holly. May I have a second?
Janine Brown, second.
Thank you, Janine. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Thank you. All right. I will now ask Destiny Burns to present the next item, a request for authorization to amend the ground lease for the Victoria Theater Land Use Improvement and Civic Redevelopment Project. Destiny.
Thank you again. This request is for the directors to authorize HCDC to amend its ground lease with 233 Danforth, the developer of the Victoria Theater project. Under the terms of the lease, HCDC is obligated to convey the completed building, except for the cultural unit, to the developer upon satisfaction of certain conveyance conditions, including delivery of the certificate of occupancy for all the components of the project. The original lease, executed in 2015, required the project to be substantially complete by August 4th, 2022. To date, please mute. A reminder for everybody to mute.
This is Eunice, that's August 20th, 2020.
To date, 2 lease extensions have been executed. The first in August 2020 extended the lease expiration date to April 30th, 2021, and provided financial relief for the developer from some of their financial obligations in the lease, as well as authorization to place the residential portion of the project in service prior to the completion of the rest of the project. The second extension, authorized on April 30th, 2021, extended the lease expiration date to October 31st, 2021. In July of this year, the developers advised us that the project would not be completed by the October 31st lease expiration date, and that a refinancing of their loan and additional capital was needed to complete the project. The developer requested a third extension of the lease to allow time to negotiate and close refinancing with a new lender that they identified and to complete the project. Based on what the developer represented regarding the refinancing with the proposed lender, projected to close in September, and the timeframe for the project completion and government approvals of the work, the directors authorized a further extension of the lease. The July authorization permitted a lease amendment with 2 potential additional extensions for up to a combined total of 15 months. This extension was not executed because the refinancing did not occur. The status of the construction on the project remains unchanged. Ahead of the October 31st lease expiration date, the developer has requested additional time to close on his refinancing of his construction loan with a different lender. This loan would provide the additional capital needed to complete the project. ESD staff, on behalf of HCDC, recommends that the directors authorize HCDC to amend the lease as necessary to allow the developer up to the requested 4 months until February 28, 2022 to negotiate and close on the proposed refinancing. Staff further recommends that the directors authorize HCDC to provide an additional extension of the lease term to allow the developer sufficient time to complete the construction and obtain the requisite governmental approvals needed for the project outlined in the materials, and authorization to take related action. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions the director has for this item.
Hi, this is Maritere Arce. I mean, as you well detail, there have been prior extensions to this lease, and so I just wanted to understand what is the alternative to extending this lease and having this project in limbo.
Well, under the current lease, this is Eunice Jackson. Under the current lease, if we do not extend the lease, technically the lease will end. And at that point, the next actions would likely be we would send the notice to the developers that the lease has been, term has ended. And the likelihood at that point might be that the bank that is currently holding their mortgage would ask us to stand down from enforcing that until they had a chance to perhaps to step in and complete, use their abilities under the lease. And I don't have the lease in front of me, so I can't tell you what all the mortgagee's rights are. But basically, if we do not extend the lease, we will be in a situation where the developer technically will have no legal right to occupy and control the site. And what we are trying to do, and we all want this project to succeed, so we have been working with the developer, and as Destiny outlined, staff is recommending that we allow additional time for them to get some additional financing. Does that respond to your question, Maria?
But yes, in response to my question, I remember a language on Destiny's presentation that spoke about some sort of I don't have the language in front of me right now, but a manager or opportunity to seek, some sort of alternative manager for this property or whatnot. I just want to understand what's out there, because obviously we all want this project to succeed. We've been looking at it for over a decade now, but I just want to understand what we're facing here in light of all the opportunities to extend the lease that we've been giving them, and they haven't been able to meet the
I think what you are referring to is the presentation that was made in July, where one of the options that the staff was recommending is that there were a series of potential extensions, and the staff at that point was recommending that at the option of HCDC, if certain milestones had not been met within a certain time frame, that the developer would be asked could be asked to bring in another manager that we felt confident could assist them in getting the project done. Right now, I think the authorization that's sought today is to give them the 4 months that they've asked for now, with the idea and give the staff the flexibility to work with the developer, because it's July. That was July, and now we're in soon to be November, and we want to have a clear understanding of what the next steps are, and on the development team, and review what their refinancing would look like and what their lender requirements might be, and have the ability to make a determination once we have more information on this new financing and their current plan, the update on their plans for getting the project completed, to assess, the kind of steps that might be needed, if at all, to complete the project. So at this point, that's not the ask that we, have them seek additional third-party input, but that could possibly come down the line if things don't proceed apace.
So I just want to have clear in my head the contingencies. So if we approve this now and they're not able to meet this deadline, then that would trigger an opportunity to bring in a third party to help them manage the project. Is that what
Potentially, but right now we're asking for the 4 months to secure the refinancing. And once that happens, we'll negotiate the additional terms in the lease. But we want to make sure that financing is secure.
Thanks.
Any other questions? And I'll say my understanding in terms of any other questions is that after, according to the presentation, not just what you said, but also the materials, that at the end of the 4 months, assuming it is he's able to secure his financing, they are able to secure their financing, that HCDC would be negotiating further extensions according to there was a number of contingencies in the materials you sent over around minority supplier, et cetera, et cetera. Is that not correct?
Right, and that all of that is happening at the same time. So even before they secure the financing, we'll be negotiating with them so that we're ready to name what those terms are. But right now is premature, and we want the flexibility to have those negotiations.
Got it. Okay, no other questions, it sounds like. No other discussion. If there's no other discussions from the board, are there any comments from the public? Okay, not hearing any comments from the public, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
It's Holly Drakeford. I make a motion to authorize HCDC to amend the lease with 233 West 125th Street, Danforth LLC, as described in these materials.
May I have a second?
Yolanda Ford, I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay, not hearing any opposition. The motion is passed. I thank you. Is there any additional business? Okay, there being no further business, I may have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Dana Reed, so moves.
Fantastic. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone, for your participation in today's meeting. The meeting of the directors of the Harlem Community Development Court is adjourned. Have a great weekend, everyone.
You too, Keish.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Great meeting, Keish.
Thank you. Thank you, Holly. Thank you for